BYD, the most profitable new energy vehicle manufacturer in China, has released its financial performance for 2022. During the year, BYD sold 1.86 million new energy vehicles and earned a revenue of 280.1 billion Chinese yuan. Including battery, photovoltaic, and consumer electronics contract manufacturing businesses, the company's total revenue for the year was 424.1 billion yuan, doubling from the previous year. The most astonishing fact is its profitability. In 2022, BYD's net profit attributable to shareholders of listed companies reached 16.6 billion Chinese yuan, increasing 4.5 times from the previous year, surpassing the combined profits of the previous 5 years. Previously, BYD was known as a company that was good at selling cars, but now it has become a company that is good at making profits. In China, there is no other car manufacturer with such diverse business operations as BYD. In addition to its automotive business, it also produces power batteries, semiconductors, photovoltaic products, and contract manufacturing services for smartphone and tablet companies such as Huawei, Xiaomi, OPPO, Vivo, and Honor, as well as urban rail projects. In the 2 years following the outbreak of the pandemic, BYD even sold masks and briefly became the world's largest mask manufacturer. Cars are just one part of its massive business empire, but their importance is growing day by day, becoming the company's main source of income and profits last year. In the 2022 financial report, BYD merged the previously separate battery and photovoltaic business data with its automotive business, making the company more opaque. The merged Big Auto business contributed 76.6% of BYD's revenue. BYD is becoming bigger, stronger, and more profitable, making it the biggest beneficiary of China's accelerated penetration of new energy vehicles last year. How did BYD manage to sit on the throne in the past year? Okay, in today's video, let's dive deep into this issue. As a traditional car company, choosing what kind of car to build is crucial. BYD completely stopped producing gasoline cars in March 2022 and invested all resources into new energy vehicles. It was also because of this strategic decision that BYD avoided the internal competition between gasoline cars and new energy vehicles, which helped boost its new energy vehicle sales. In 2022, BYD sold 1.86 million new energy vehicles, while gasoline cars only sold 5,049 units in January and February. This structure has changed significantly compared to previous years. In 2018, 2019, and 2020, new energy vehicles accounted for 47.6%, 49.7%, and 44.4% of BYD's sales, respectively, but never surpassed gasoline cars. The change occurred in 2021, when BYD began its transformation and the proportion of new energy vehicles increased to 81.6%. Only then did BYD completely cut ties with gasoline cars in 2022. The 1.86 million new energy vehicles sold in 2022 brought BYD a revenue of 280.1 billion Chinese yuan, compared to only 86 billion Chinese yuan in 2021. The contribution of new energy vehicles to BYD's revenue increased from 40% to 66%. New energy vehicles have become a true pillar business for BYD. The change in income structure has driven the improvement of profitability, and BYD is accelerating its earnings. The gross profit margin of the automotive business is significantly higher than that of other businesses, especially consumer electronics manufacturing. BYD's disclosed data shows that the gross profit margin of its automotive business in 2022 was 20.4%, while that of its smartphone and tablet assembly business was only 6.1%, with a huge gap between them. Looking back at the past 5 years, in 2022, BYD's gross profit margin in the automotive business was at a higher level, while the consumer electronics manufacturing business was at the lowest level. Therefore, for BYD, the transformation to new energy vehicles is the way to go. Last year, BYD achieved a net profit of 16.6 billion yuan, which is equivalent to earning 5 years' worth of money in just 1 year. Automobile production is a business with a very obvious marginal effect. Only with a large enough scale can the unit cost be low enough. With a million-scale production capacity, BYD enjoys economies of scale on the one hand, has bargaining power with upstream suppliers, and has the confidence to raise prices. In the first quarter of last year alone, BYD raised prices twice. Since the beginning of 2022, BYD's unit profit has continued to increase, from less than 2,000 yuan to nearly 10,000 yuan. The unit profit for the whole year was close to 8,000 yuan, an increase of more than 100% year-on-year. It is expected that BYD's unit profit in 2023 will remain at around 10,000 yuan. Another benefit of increasing scale is that it can obtain more new energy subsidies. BYD received 5.9 billion yuan in new energy subsidies from the government in 2021, which increased to 10.4 billion yuan in 2022. Compared with many other automakers, BYD's biggest advantage lies in the vertical integration of its supply chain. BYD is the only host plant in the industry that can manufacture both whole vehicles and power batteries and semiconductor components. It controls the core parts and components in its own hands and has high risk resistance. Last year, many automakers encountered the trouble of chip and battery shortages, and the epidemic cut off the supply chains of some automakers, leading to a sharp decline in new car deliveries in some months. The most typical example is NIO, which often experiences shortages of components and insufficient production capacity. However, throughout 2022, BYD never seemed to worry about its supply chain. It can produce many MCU and power semiconductors that many automakers are short of, and then supply them to its own cars. According to BYD's semiconductor prospectus, it can meet the demand of about 400,000 cars per year, with BYD's automotive division being its largest customer. BYD also does not have to worry about being held hostage by battery manufacturers. The power batteries it produces are not only for its own use but also supplied to other automakers, and have even entered Tesla's supply chain. BYD has managed to turn its competitors into its own customers. So, did BYD win? BYD is at its peak moment. After the release of the 2022 financial report, BYD's founder Wang Chuanfu said that BYD will become China's largest automaker by the end of this year. He also said that although China's auto demand in the first quarter was slightly weaker than the same period last year, BYD's sales will still maintain a growth rate of more than 80% compared with the same period last year. However, this does not mean that other car companies have no chance at all. At least in the battery electric vehicle market of more than 300,000 yuan, BYD currently does not have an advantage. In addition, there is a high probability that Tesla's next car will be priced within 200,000 yuan, directly competing with BYD. In terms of business model, BYD is not much different from traditional fuel car companies making cars, selling cars, and earning due profits. In terms of value-added services such as autonomous driving, software subscriptions, and membership services, BYD does not have many bright spots. The industry generally believes that the future trend is software-defined cars, and the business model of car manufacturing will also change accordingly. However, BYD is still dominated by hardware and software is not prominent. As we all know, the first half of this wave of car making is electrification, and the second half is intelligence. BYD's current results can at best be said to have temporarily won the first half, but the second half is a brand new battlefield. The war has just begun, and emerging car companies have stockpiled enough ammunition. In addition, even in the battle of electrification, BYD can win because of taking a shortcut. In 2022, more than half of its vehicles will be plug-in hybrid models, and pure electric models will account for less than 50%. Hybrid vehicles can be powered by gasoline and electricity, and have no battery life anxiety, so they have become the first choice of many people. Last year, the price of raw materials for power batteries rose wildly, and the cost of pure electric vehicles rose a lot. The price increase pressure was great, and hybrid vehicles with smaller battery packs were relatively less affected. In contrast, hybrid vehicles have become more attractive to price-conscious buyers. In short, BYD has achieved a strong market position, thanks to hybrid vehicles. In China today, hybrid vehicles still have a broad market space. BYD, which already has an advantage, will continue this momentum for a while, so there is no need to worry about sales in the short term. However, spontaneous combustion is still a difficult problem that BYD has not yet solved. Many of its vehicles have experienced spontaneous combustion problems in the past year, especially BYD Tang, where spontaneous combustion incidents have been exposed from time to time. The Blade battery is not as magical as BYD's propaganda, and the word spontaneous combustion has not been erased from the dictionary of new energy vehicles. Of course, BYD's car sales are large, and the probability of failure will be higher. Based on the foundation laid in 2022, BYD will continue to make great strides this year, and will inevitably set a new sales record. China's car-making arena has thus formed a pattern of two superpowers, and many strong ones. BYD and Tesla are far ahead, and other car companies are trying their best to catch up. Apart from Tesla, there are no players who can directly challenge BYD. The most intense competition for new energy will be between BYD and Tesla. Okay, that's all for today. Please put your comments below, and share your insightful ideas with other people. Your precious time with us is highly appreciated. See you.